Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we take a stack of your sources and really try to pull out the most important nuggets of knowledge. Today, we're diving into urban development, real estate. Specifically, we're looking at a review of SBR1 Residence. It's an apartment project in Whitefield, Bengaluru. Our mission for you listening is to cut through the noise, give you a clear, informed perspective on, what makes a project like this work, its features, and the crucial things to think about.
Yeah, and what's interesting here, I think, is how this review acts almost like a case study. It gives a pretty comprehensive look into how these big residential projects operate, especially in a place like Bengaluru. We'll be pulling out the facts, sure, but also what it all means if you're trying to understand or maybe even invest in something like this.
Okay, right. Let's unpack it then. So
Okay.
SBR1 Residence, it's a 2.5 and 3 BHK project by SBR Group. BHK meaning bedroom, hall, kitchen for anyone new to that. But where is it exactly, and what are we talking about in terms of size?
Okay, so location-wise, it's right on Hope Farm, Chenisandra Road in Whitefield. The source puts it very close, like maybe 100 to 400 meters from Hope Farm Junction,
Oh, okay.
and about 2 kilometers, maybe a bit less, from the Kautokeino Metro Station. Scale-wise, it's pretty substantial. We're looking at around 11, maybe 12 acres.
12 acres. Wow.
Yeah, with 12 towers, each G plus 20 floors high. So ground plus 20 stories. And that houses about 930 apartments in total.
930. That's a significant number of homes.
Yeah.
So tell us about the unit types. What are the options for size and, crucially, the price?
Sure. Two main types. You've got the 2.5 BHKs. Those run from about 1190 up to 3,310 square feet.
Okay.
And then the larger 3 BHK units, which are roughly 1,624 to 1,752 square feet. Price-wise, the 2.5 BHKs start around 1.69 crore,
Great.
going up to maybe 1.85 crore. The 3 BHKs, they start higher, obviously, at 2.28 crore, and the all-in price could go up to about 2.48 crore. So yeah, that gives you a pretty clear idea of the investment level we're talking about.
And the timeline. When can people actually expect to move in?
So the ARA details, that's the regulatory authority. They suggest initial handovers starting December 2028. But full possession for everyone is more like 2030.
2030, okay.
Yeah, it's always important to keep those dates in mind for planning, obviously. The URI number is listed too. Carrera 1251446, PR 13122, SAF 2407297 for anyone wanting to verify.
Got it. Now, this is where it gets interesting for me. Beyond the basics, the bricks and mortar, what kind of lifestyle is SBR1 promising? What about amenities, smart features?
Right. They really push this idea of holistic living. So outdoors, the review mentions landscaped gardens, jogging tracks, cycling tracks, even a cricket practice pitch. Plus courts for badminton, basketball, a multi-purpose one, a skating rink, and then dedicated areas for pets and kids.
Sounds like a lot going on outdoors. What about inside?
Indoors, it's centered around a pretty big clubhouse. They're saying around 50,000 to 60,000 square feet.
Wow.
Inside that, you've got your gym, indoor games room, billiards, a party hall, a library, even a multi-purpose deck. So quite a few options.
And they also talk up the smart features and safety. Anything stand out there?
Yeah, this seems to be a key point for them. They're using MyVan construction.
Okay, what's that exactly?
It's basically an aluminum formwork system, known for being faster and giving a more uniform quality, especially on big projects like this. Architecturally, they mentioned things like bay windows and individual entrances as unique touches. And a big one, 72% of the total land is apparently open space.
72%. That's quite high.
It is. Then for the smart stuff, you've got home automation, smart locks, Wi-Fi switches, that kind of thing. And on the safety and sustainability side, 24/7 security, CCTV, power backup, rainwater harvesting, and an STP, a sewage treatment plant. So ticking boxes for both convenience and, environmental responsibility.
Okay, let's zoom out a bit. Beyond the gates of the project itself, how does it connect to the rest of Bengaluru? What's the value proposition there?
Connectivity looks like a major plus. We mentioned the metro proximity, Hope Farm, meters away, Kautokeino, just a couple of kilometers. But linking that to the bigger picture, it's close to major IT hubs like ITPL. That's a huge employment zone. And also near arterial roads like Old Madras Road, KR Puram, and key areas like Hoodie. That makes getting around, theoretically, much easier.
So it's not just the commute, but also things families need, schools, hospitals.
Exactly. The review points that out. It's close to well-known schools like DPS, Whitefield Global, reputable hospitals nearby too, Videi, Manipal, Astor, and popular malls are accessible. Phoenix, Nexus, in orbit. So that whole ecosystem, schools, healthcare, shopping, it makes it attractive, especially for families.
So what does this all mean for someone thinking about it as an investment? putting that kind of money down?
That's the big question, isn't it? What's the investment outlook? Well, Whitefield itself has seen really strong infrastructure growth, and that's continuing. Combine that with pretty consistent rental demand in the area. And projects like SBR1 seem reasonably well-positioned, both for potential capital appreciation and hopefully decent rental yields down the line. The whole area's development path suggests continued growth.
Okay, so we've heard a lot of the positives, the impressive features. Let's try and get the full picture. What are the clear strengths highlighted in the review?
Yeah, the review definitely lists several positives. Number one is probably the prime Whitefield location with that connectivity we talked about. Then the spacious units, the variety, the finishes described as high-end, the extensive amenities aiming for that holistic living.
Right.
The smart home features, that big chunk of open space, 72%, and the MyGAN construction for quality. And, of course, the potential for rental income and future appreciation. That's always a big draw for investors.
But, no project is perfect. What are the counterpoints, the things the review suggests you, the listener, should really be mindful of?
This is where you need to put your critical hat on. The review does caution, for instance, to probably expect some modest delays in completion. That's not uncommon with big projects, especially pre-launch ones.
Okay, good to know.
It also strongly recommends verifying the developer's track record, their delivery history, the actual build quality, how.
By doing site visits, maybe to their other completed projects, and definitely checking references. And this is important. Compare SBR1. Compare it with projects from more established builders in the area, maybe like Prestige, Brigade, or Soba.
Why specifically them?
Well, it's not just about comparing features or price per square foot. It's also about thinking about resale value down the road and potentially the ease or cost of long-term maintenance. Established players sometimes have a more predictable track record there.
So when you put all that together from the source material, what's the sort of final verdict on SBR1 residents? I'd say SBR1 clearly presents itself as a standout option in Whitefield, mainly because of that location, the scale, the amenities, the smart features, and what seems like thoughtful planning. It definitely looks appealing on paper, particularly for families or investors looking for something future-focused in a high-growth area. However, and this is the key takeaway, the review emphasizes that you need to be comfortable evaluating a high-density pre-launch project. That means doing your homework, that proper due diligence we talked about, site visits, comparisons, checking the developer's history. If you're comfortable with that process, then yes, it remains a compelling option in the Whitefield market.
Right. So for you listening, armed with this deeper dive into SBR1, what does it all really mean? It kind of highlights how even a detailed review gives you great insights, but it also points exactly where you need to do your own digging to make sure the project's promise really fits your needs.
Absolutely. It really underlines that, while a project might promise future-oriented living and all these great amenities in a hot market, the how is just as vital. How reliably have they delivered in the past? What's the actual build quality like? How does it really stack up against the big established players? It's about looking past the brochure, essentially.
And maybe here's something to think about after we wrap up. In a place like Whitefield, which is developing so fast, getting denser, how does a promise of lots of internal open space, like that 72%, actually play out? Does it truly enhance quality of life long term, or does it face challenges as the city grows around it? It's that balance, isn't it, between the private oasis and the surrounding urban reality. Something to definitely consider when you're diving into a big decision like a new home or investment.